Hi guys, it's Mishel, Deception Bytes, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. It is August 8th and it's 9:26 p.m. Eastern Time. I am again having difficulty with my videos, so it's taking me 3 tries. It is getting ridiculous. But anyway, there are no new Q posts today, so we are caught up with those, but I am going to show you some Q related news that I think you'll find interesting. I hope you'll find it interesting. I certainly do. But before we get into that, I do want to show you something. The regular link to the Q posts is gone. It's down. I don't know what happened. It appears as if something nefarious has gone on. But there is backup. There's a couple of backup sites, and this is one of them. So I did want to make sure that I gave this to you guys in case you're wondering. You can find the Q drops at Q drops. It sounds like a new drink. Drink new Q drops. QAnonmap.bitbucket.io. Somebody has a sense of humor. QAnonmap.bitbucket.io. So if you are looking for the posts, this is one place you can find them. Now, let's get into some Q related news. Now, I did want to show you these couple of things that I found on Twitter. Nancy Pelosi's annual salary, $193,400. Time in office, 28 years, which equals $5,415,200, which of course doesn't take into account that she would pay taxes and have expenses out of this. So how on earth did she end up with $196 million? Yes, that's right. I said $196,299,990. How did that happen? I don't know. I'm just asking. And here, Senator Dianne Feinstein. Is it Feinstein or Feinstein? We'll call her Feinstein because well, no, let's not call her Feinstein because it rhymes with Einstein. And she's not anywhere near. Okay. She's just worth a paltry $77 million. I mean, really. And she makes $170,000 a year. Now, I'm not denying that's a good salary. That's a good salary. But you don't rack up $77 million with $170,000 a year salary. Doesn't happen. So the question asks, did I sell you out? Well, I would say yes. Yeah, that would be my answer. And then there's Maxine Waters. Where'd she get all that money? Don't know. She makes $174,000. That's the House of Representatives salary. Now, she claims, I guess, her net worth is $450,000, but not sure how that can be because her one home is worth $4.5 million, and it takes up half a city block in one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the country. And then there's home number 2 because everyone needs a second home. It's $850,000, which isn't like a huge amount. I'll admit, because I know that in Toronto here, I can't believe since the time that I've spent years and years and years and years and years in the States, and I came back, and literally I don't know how people afford to live there anymore because you can't find a house in Toronto under $1 million. Not in Toronto proper, not now. Not that you'd live in. You might find one, but you wouldn't want to live in it. So anyway, that's why I don't live in Toronto. Besides, I don't want to even live here. I want to be in the States, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm not bitter. Okay, home number 3, because really, you need 3 houses. Well, this is just a timeshare property in Palm Springs, California. There's no amount there, so don't know. But I can imagine that it's expensive. So, and she's been voted, the most corrupt politician for how many years in a row? Don't know, but it's several years. So, now here's something good, okay? Here's something good. I'm not even being sarcastic about this. For real. And this came from CNN. You're not even going to believe that. Do you believe it? Because I didn't. I thought, no, that can't be right. But it is. So, I mean, wonders never cease. Here, they are comparing Trump and Obama by the numbers. And look, okay, they're saying Trump has 40% job approval rating, which I think that's way low, but they're saying Obama had 45% approval rating. And I don't know why, because he had an unemployment rate of 9.4, which is almost 1 in every 10 people in the country was unemployed. And Donald Trump, 3.9%. Yeah. And jobs added, negative 2.9 million. He actually took jobs away. But not Trump. Nope, he added back 2.9 million and added more on top. So there was 3.2 million jobs added since Trump took office. Yeah. And the deficit. Well, it's 532 billion under Trump, but it was 936 billion under Obama. The gross domestic product is 4.1 under Trump and only 1.6 under Obama. So, not sure why he had a greater job approval rating, and I don't believe that he did. I think that may be fudged a little bit. Okay, maybe a lot. But at least they're a little bit more truthful here, right? So I would say that's a step in the right direction for CNN, but I doubt it'll last, so let's not get overly excited about it at this point. Now, let's look at this. I think you'll find this fascinating. Absolutely. Come on now. All right, here we go. You ready? McCain, the stain, illegally fed classified FBI intelligence to Fusion GPS, and Christopher Steele to set up Trump Tower meeting. FBI brass helped plot scheme. Well. Yeah, Mr. Krusty Eye himself. And I like to call him McStain because I do believe he is like a wine stain on the white carpet of America. That's how I view him. He's like dog crap in your soup. Really. Senator John McCain brokered a clandestine and illegal deal feeding classified FBI intelligence to Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele to discredit Donald Trump prior to the 2016 election, according to federal law enforcement insiders. McCain, a sitting GOP senator, was provided names. McCain, a sitting GOP senator, was provided names of, quote, problematic Russians. They're the worst kind, the problematic ones. The FBI had recently investigated, or were in the process of investigating. Top FBI executives worked with McCain to provide the names of the Russians, FBI insiders confirmed. Then McCain handed the list off to Fusion GPS, who was working with Christopher Steele. One of the names on the list was embattled Russian lawyer Natalia, and with the last name that's hard to pronounce, who was considered an international security risk, and prior to June 2016, sit down at Trump Tower was not even allowed entry into the United States or the UK, federal sources said. The woman with the hard to pronounce last name also set up the infamous meeting at Trump Tower weeks after her name was handed off to McCain. The same meeting was used as an excuse to wiretap Trump associates. A new and quite disturbing wrinkle in the FBI, Christopher Steele, Fusion GPS, and John McCain saga. FBI insiders said the new McCain and Fusion GPS revelations clearly detail a conspiracy within the FBI to railroad Donald Trump's presidential aspirations, and it is all quite illegal. Well, I think that I'm not going to read the rest, and you know why? Because I think that is the part that we need to know. And we've got lots of other news to cover. So just remember, Krusty Eye McStain. He was involved. Yep, sorry. I hit the table that the microphone's on, and it probably sounded very loud in your ears, and I apologize profusely. All right, let's go back. So let's go down to the next item of interest. All right. Now, look at this cat. How can you dislike anybody that has a kitten on their shoulder? I certainly can't. Now, U.S. Senate calls on Julian Assange to testify. Uh-oh. What's going to happen when Julian Assange testifies, if he does? What will happen when he says, no, it wasn't the Russians, it was Seth Rich? What happens then? Dunno. I guess it's anyone's guess. But the fallout will be quite interesting. Julian Assange has been asked to testify before the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee as part of their Russia investigation, according to a letter signed by Senators Richard Burr and Mark Warner, posted by the official WikiLeaks Twitter account. Oh, I just had to pause and show you the cat again. I wonder what he named him or her. The letter delivered to Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy in London reads in part, as part of the inquiry, the committee requests that you make yourself available for a closed interview with bipartisan committee staff at a mutually agreeable time and location. And here we have the WikiLeaks tweet. Breaking, U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee calls editor Julian Assange to testify. Letter delivered via U.S. Embassy in London. WikiLeaks legal team say they are considering the offer, but testimony must conform to a high ethical standard. So there you go. WikiLeaks say their legal team is considering the offer, but testimony must conform to a high ethical standard, after which the whistleblower organization added a tweet linking to a list of 10 Democratic senators who demanded in late June that Assange's asylum be revoked in violation of international law. Well, we certainly don't want Julian Assange testifying, do we? Well, we do. They don't. And here are the senators. And we have gone through this list of names before, but there's Dianne Feinstein. Oh, Feinstein. We don't want it to rhyme with Einstein. Okay, let's go down here. WikiLeaks also tweeted a link to a Human Rights Watch article. UK should reject extraditing Julian Assange to US, which reads in part, it has been 6 years since Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, fled to the Ecuadorian embassy in London to seek asylum from possible extradition to the United States to face indictment under the U.S. Espionage Act. At the time, Assange, an Australian national, was wanted by Sweden for questioning over sexual offense allegations. Assange had also broken the terms of his UK bail. Since then, he has become even more controversial, having published U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's emails and internal emails from Democratic Party officials. While some admire and others despise Assange, no one should be prosecuted under the antiquated Espionage Act for publishing leaked government documents. That 1917 statute was designed to punish people who leaked secrets to a foreign government, not to the media, and allows no defense or mitigation of punishment on the basis that public interest served by some leaks may outweigh any harm to national security. The U.S. grand jury investigation of Assange under the Espionage Act was apparently based on his publishing the leaks for which Chelsea Manning, a former U.S. Army soldier, was convicted. Her sentence was commuted. Assange has been holed up in the embassy since 2012 for jumping UK bail on a Swedish arrest warrant for an alleged rape. In May, Swedish prosecutors decided to discontinue their investigation into the claims, which Assange denies and has never formally been charged with. Chief Prosecutor Marianne Nye has today decided to discontinue the preliminary investigation regarding suspected rape concerning Julian Assange. The prosecutor's office said in a statement, as quoted by Reuters, last August, Congress Dana with a very hard to pronounce last name, traveled to London with journalist Charles Johnson for a meeting with Assange, after which the person with the really hard to pronounce last name said the WikiLeaks founder offered first-hand information proving that the Trump campaign did not collude with Russia, and which would refute the Russian hacking theory, which we all know. And let me tell you, if I never hear about the Russians again, it will be too soon. I am so sick of this. And the fact that there are semi-intelligent people believing that is mind-boggling to me. After Trump denied knowledge of the potential deal, the woman with the hard-to-pronounce last name raged at Trump's chief of staff, John Kelly, for constructing a, quote, wall around President Trump by, quote, people who do not want to expose this fraud. And in January of 2017, Julian Assange's legal team approached Clinton-linked D.C. lobbyist Adam Waldman to reach out and see if anyone in the Trump administration would negotiate with the WikiLeaks founder, only to have James Comey kill the deal. Waldman, who acted as an intermediary from 2009 to 2011 between Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska and the FBI, worked for Assange pro bono. Assange's bargaining chip was a massive trove of CIA technical documents known as Vault 7, which detailed the agency's massive cyber warfare arsenal. After Assange team made contact, Waldman reached out to Bruce Orr, a DOJ official who would later be demoted in December 2017 for failing to disclose secret meetings with Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson. Bruce's wife, Nellie Orr, was hired by Fusion GPS as part of an ongoing anti-Trump effort. Fusion also produced the 35-page Steele dossier written by former MI6 spy Christopher Steele. Now, I'm not going to go on further from there, but very interesting indeed. I do feel sorry for Assange. I really do, because I don't believe that he's done anything wrong, and I don't believe that he was involved in rape. I just don't. I think that that was made up. Personally, now, could I be wrong? Well, of course not. No, I could be wrong, but I don't in this case think I am, but there's always that chance. Now, let's go back. See what else we have here. Now, I had to throw this in here. I had to, so please forgive me. This is a video. Okay, I'm just going to have to show it to you, but I have to do this, okay? I have to. I cannot help myself. And this is... Hang on here. I got to make this a little... Okay, I'm not laughing at what's happening here. I'm not. It's I think the Indie an association, it's in Montreal anyway. This is occurring in Montreal. And this, unfortunately, is our Prime Minister. Yes, it is. Now, I'm going to turn this music down, okay, because it's probably very loud, and I just want you to watch our Prime Minister here. This is our, now, have I mentioned that this is Canada's Prime Minister? Right. You know, like the head of state. You know, a Prime Minister. Yeah, here we go. You ready? He's thick, I'll give him that. India-Canada Association of Montreal. That's where this is happening. And of course, he's dressed. And here's a man actually from India who's dressed normally. And here's our Prime Minister. Yes. I hope you're dancing along. It's great exercise. Yep. I'm going to stop it soon, but right now I'm not enjoying it too much. Not really, but That's our Prime Minister. There he is. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go back. I just had to show you that. I don't know if you've heard about his trip to India. If you haven't, you should DuckDuckGo it, because it's interesting. Canadians are quite embarrassed about it. I know I am. Like, I was born in Canada. I consider myself American because I lived a great many years there and want to go back. But yes, I was born in Canada, and so I'm a little bit ashamed of what happened in India, and I do apologize to everyone of Indian descent. I do apologize. We Canadians really don't approve of that. Okay. All right, now let's go on. Okay, this is old news now. Facebook bans Alex Jones pages, so we don't need to go there. We all know what's happening there. Apparently, Twitter has not banned Alex Jones, and that's a good sign. It's a step in the right direction. And I don't care if you are for or against Alex Jones. It doesn't matter to me. This is about free speech. It's not about who we agree with and who we don't agree with, because both should have equal airtime, right? We should be able to have both sides of any debate heard, or any whatever, whether it be Republicans and Democrats, or whether it be both sides of, of whatever. We all need to be able to say what we need to say. All right, let's go here. Look at this. No, really, look at it. I want to go back to the dancing. I want to see if I can dance like, Justin Trudeau. I'm pretty sure I can't because I have a spinal injury. But I can always dream. Globalist grip weakens in Europe as Merkel and Macron tank in the polls. Now, I'm not going to read all this, but I'm just going to the first little part of it. The globalist progressive leaders of France and Germany are seeing record low public approval as patriotism and conservatism grows across the European Union. Well, it's happening there as well. People are fed up with this liberal crap. Like, it's craziness. Really. Some of the things that these people stand for are absolutely crazy. Could there be a worse expression? You could drive trucks in those cheeks. I'm sorry, that's mean. I shouldn't have said that. I'm probably going to get wrinkles now. So anyway, that's that. I'm going to go back now and we'll find some other exciting news. Let's go. Okay, now, oh, yes. This is interesting. You've probably already heard this. It's a little bit old now. All right. Pro-ISIS media outlet signals imminent biological attack on the West. What? This too will be ignored by the complicit Sharia-compliant Western press. A biological attack is the intentional release of a pathogen, disease-causing agent, or biotoxin, poisonous substance produced by a living organism against humans, plants, or animals. An attack against people could be used to cause illness, death, fear, societal disruption, and economic damage. Why isn't this everywhere? Why isn't this splashed all over the news? Don't know. Well, actually I do. Pro-ISIS, let me see here. Pro-ISIS media outlet publishes posters calling for biological attacks in the West, one of which depicts San Francisco. This transcript was prepared from the original English subtitles of the video. While the world is watching silently, the European governments are developing satanic chemical attack systems to be brutally tested on the cities and peoples which refused humiliation. Refused. That's what it says. Humiliation and humiliation. I hate it when you refuse to be twice humiliated. I don't know what that means. They refuse to be humiliated and humiliation. So the Muslim countries in Africa and Khorasan turned into testing fields of phosphorus bombs and toxic gas. The Crusader Alliance continues bombing Mosul, Raqqa, Al-Anbar, and others with various types of chemical bombs and I can't say it. I can't say it. I can't say that word. See, I can't say it, and I'm not even going to try because then you'll laugh. Stop laughing at me. Okay. And similar to the enemies of God, we invite you, Muhammad, I don't know, who lives between this is just, I'm not reading that. It's just too weird and hard to read. But I think the important thing to take away from this is not that there are certain words that I can't read, or the fact that we refuse humiliation and humiliation. That's not the important part to take away from this. The important part to take away from this is the fact that they are threatening imminent biological attack on the West and have pictured San Francisco. Don't you think that, should probably be in the mainstream media? Don't you think that might be wise? Apparently not. Apparently not. So let's go back. And here's something else that's rather interesting. You may have heard this, you may not have. Facebook asking major US banks to share users' financial data. What? Yeah. So that does it for me. I have been meaning to delete my Facebook for a long time now, but I don't want these people all up in my business. I just don't. Not that I have anything to hide. I don't. But it's just, when is enough enough? Seriously. When have we been violated enough? Facebook has asked several large U.S. banks to share detailed financial information about their customers, including checking account balances and card transaction, as part of a new push to offer new services to its users, according to the Wall Street Journal. Facebook increasingly wants to be a platform where people buy and sell goods and services. Besides connecting with friends, the company over the past year asked J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, Wells Fargo & Company, Citigroup Inc., and U.S. Bancorp to discuss potential offerings it could host for bank customers on Facebook Messenger, said people familiar with the matter. Facebook's new feature would show people their checking account balances, as well as offer fraud alerts, according to the Wall Street Journal sources, while the banks are apparently waffling over data privacy concerns. Well, please, banks, waffle away. Keep waffling, because this is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And I really hope that some tech-savvy people start inventing some social media that bypasses all this crap. Because I think people are fed up. Like, I am fed completely up. I am more than fed up. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to go through all the ins and outs because that's something that you can look up yourself if you're interested in it. I certainly am interested in it, and I need to write a note to myself to go and delete my Facebook because that's it for me. Even the fact that they're considering, way too far out there for me. Like, it just seems to go on and on. It's like, Facebook, the gift that keeps on giving it to you. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the gift that keeps on giving it to you and raping you and pillaging you and whatever they want. Anyway, they'd probably sell our souls to Satan if they could. All right. Now let's take a look at this. Just because we can. Hurry. Why is it taking so long? Here it goes. I'll shut this down here and this there and this here. All right. France passes law saying children can consent to sex with adults. Children. Yeah. Really? You think about that for a minute. Think about a child maybe 5, 6 years old, and you've got a person that is a person of authority, or someone in the person's life, the child's life, that is in a position of authority. Do they feel that they really have the choice to say no? And once an adult actually asks a child for consent, do you really think at that point, if the child says no, they're going to say, oh, okay. Yeah, right. President Macron's government has voted against having an age of consent in France. Well, isn't that appropriate? Becoming the latest nation to give in to pressure from an international network of liberal activists. Excuse me for a second. I was choking on my saliva. All right. France becoming the latest nation to give in to pressure from an international network of liberal activists determined to normalize pedophilia and decriminalize sex with children across the world. Federal law in France now has no legal age of consent, meaning adults who have sex with children of any age will not be prosecuted for rape if the child victim is unable to provide violence, threat, duress, or surprise. Surprise! I'm a 30-year-old woman, or a 30-year-old man, and I'm about to have sex with a 5-year-old. Yeah, that is a surprise. What does that even mean? They're unable to prove violence, threat, duress, or surprise. And should it really be up to the child to have to prove that? Are you kidding me? This is like literal insanity. Absolute insanity. Excuse me. The draft bill against sexual and gender-based violence, known as the Chiapo Law, was signed into law by the French Parliament on 3rd of August, sparking outrage in France as parents and children's rights groups accuse Emmanuel Macron's government of betraying the nation's children. And I would agree. Excuse me, I don't know what I'm choking on. All right. The lack of age of consent places millions of children in serious danger of sexual abuse in France, according to child protection officials. So that's right. Your child can be going to school, and if your child consents to having sex with the teacher, well, then the teacher can have sex with the child, I would assume. And the child can't really do anything about it unless he proves that the teacher was violent, threatened him, forced him, or surprised him. Surprise! Here's my penis, surprise! That might surprise a young child. Yeah, I'm thinking it would. All right, let's go back. Now that I feel actually literally sick, and I do. Okay, let's look at this now. I can't remember what this is about, to tell you the truth. Oh, yes. Colombian child prostitution ring where 250 underage girls were branded with tattoos by their owners is smashed as Madame, who recruited them, is arrested. police arrested 18 people after the girls were lured into working at sex parties. The alleged madame of the operation was among those detained in the raids. So, just this is in Colombia. So, this is happening. These arrests of these, predators, really, and she is a predator if she is branding these young girls with tattoos and making them work sex parties. It's interesting how these arrests are spreading. They're everywhere. So just wanted to show you that. I'm not going to read all the nitty-gritty details, but you can do so if you wish. Now, I think this is interesting. This was on Sean Hannity's Twitter account, and it says, report, U.S. dethrones Hong Kong, takes top spot as world's most competitive economy. And great again, U.S. regains top spot as world's most competitive economy. The U.S. states dethrones Hong Kong this week to take the top spot. That's good news. I'm not going to go out and read it, but I just think that that's something that we all can be proud of. All right. Now, President Trump's approval rating is at 50%. Factor in that polling is very biased and the mainstream media have people afraid to admit they are in favor of Donald Trump. It's more likely closer to 60 to 65% approval. And I would agree with that. I really would, because I think that his approval rating is far greater than 50%. And I think we all know that. All right, now here, this was from the 2nd of August, and it was anonymous, and I'm not sure where this was posted because I found it on Twitter, but I think it's interesting. A note to the mainstream media. We Anons have noticed that you have begun to address the phenomenon known as QAnon. We've also noticed that rather than share with the general public the news, the truth about Q, you have chosen to mislabel Q as a mere conspiracy theory and us a cult. This only proves how little you know about Q and us. But here are just a few things that millions, yes, millions of Anons across the internet know about you. We know that you know Q is not a conspiracy theory. We know you were ordered to put this label in place, and we know who ordered it. We know all about your 4 a.m. communications with some very evil people, not only within our government, but throughout the world. We know who you get your talking points from. We know how deeply you are involved in the crimes of the so-called elite. We know that because of us. You are afraid that your involvement in those crimes is going to be found out by the general public. You have good reason to be afraid, not because of any fictitious physical threat you claim were made, but because prison isn't a pleasant place to be, and you know that that will be the end result once your crimes are made public. We know that at least a few of you in the media and some clowns that sent you have been to visit us at 4chan, 8chan, and Reddit, posing as Anons to post all sorts of hateful and even violent messages and then claim that we are hateful and violent. You chose the wrong people to try and do this to, because at least some of us know how to track you and have the means to do so. Keck. Furthermore, we have actual evidence of these things we know about you and those who use you. We have that evidence because that little conspiracy theory known as QAnon taught us how to read not only their communication, but yours. Finally, we're here to tell you, those of you in the mainstream media, your days are numbered. So choose your sides widely. Choose your sides widely. Choose your sides wisely, because you are running out of time. And where we go one, we go all. I thought that was very good, and thus I shared it with you all. And here is something from Mark Dyson, I think this is well stated. Alex Jones is now an unperson, straight out of the plot of George Orwell's 1984. Regardless what you think of him and InfoWars, this is the equivalent of digital book burning and sets a horrifying precedent for mass censorship by big tech. And I would agree. And this is important, very important actually. And again, you would think that this would be all over the news, and it has been. I mean, this is in Business Insider, but interesting, if you ask me, because it says Saudi Arabia appeared to threaten Canada with a 9/11 style attack in a feud over human rights. Now, this is interesting. This is an Air Canada plane, and this is the CN Tower. And the CN Tower is located downtown Toronto and in a very populous area, and it appears as if a train. Boy, that would be a feat for a train. But the plane is headed for the tower. And, you know, this would be our equivalent of the Twin Towers, except there's only one. Anyway, Saudi Arabia state media on Monday tweeted a graphic appearing to show an Air Canada airliner heading towards the Toronto skyline in a way that recalls the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. Saudi Arabia expelled Canada's ambassador after an official account called for the release of detained women's rights activists in the kingdom. I don't know what I'm choking on, but I think I will cut this short because I'm sure you don't want to listen to me cough and hack through the news. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're just strange like that. I don't know. Anyway, 15 of the 19th September 11th hijackers were from Saudi Arabia and Osama bin Laden. The attack's mastermind was a Saudi citizen who has family there. Now, of course, we know that 9/11 was an inside job, but let's just pretend it wasn't for now. So this is actually something that's quite alarming, if you ask me, that they're threatening to, or they appear to be threatening Canada. Just wonder what's around the corner. Excuse me. This is from August 6th, so we need to keep Canada in our prayers, that anything of this nature, nothing of this nature will occur there. We certainly don't need anything else of the nature of 9/11 happening anywhere. So I'm going to cut it off there because, as you can tell, I have probably a Russian in my throat. I'm not sure, but it's probably the Russians. They may have hacked my voice. I don't know. Probably. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I will continue to keep a lookout for Q posts, and I will post them as soon as they, well, not as soon as they appear, but I'll try to post them as quickly as I can after they appear. In the meantime, there is lots of Q-related news. So have a wonderful night, sleep well, stay safe.